Imagine being a rich, lonely old man so cold-hearted that even Christmas cannot warm you. That is the miserable world of Ebenezer Scrooge. He hates generosity, dismisses kindness as weakness, and believes the poor should simply suffer in silence. But on Christmas Eve, Scrooge is visited by the ghost of his dead business partner, Jacob Marley, who warns him that a terrible fate awaits if he does not change. Then come three spirits: the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmas yet to come. They force Scrooge to face the life he has wasted, the people he has hurt, and the dark future waiting for him if he remains the same. Will one haunted night be enough to save his soul, or is Ebenezer Scrooge already beyond redemption? Hello, I'm Roger Braveheart, and a very warm welcome to the 22-Minute Stories channel, where we are going to find out Ebenezer Scrooge's fate. Today, I'll be taking you through A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, a timeless and unforgettable story of greed, regret, ghosts, kindness, redemption, and the true meaning of Christmas. Whether you are catching up on a classic you always meant to read, looking for something thoughtful to listen to on a busy commute, or simply want a warm and atmospheric story for the Christmas season, this video is for you. Okay, so without further delay, let's get cracking. The story opens with a firm insistence that the old partner Marley is dead as a doornail, and that this fact must be understood for anything wonderful to follow. The surviving partner is a tight-fisted, squeezing, grasping old sinner, hard and sharp as flint, carrying his own low temperature about with him so that no warmth could thaw him and no cold could chill him. Nobody stops him in the street with kindness. Even the blind men's dogs draw their owners away from him. On a bitter, foggy Christmas Eve, he sits in his counting house, keeping his shivering clerk on a tiny fire. His warm-hearted nephew bursts in with a Merry Christmas greeting, and is met only with scorn and the famous cry of humbug. The nephew defends Christmas as a kind, forgiving, charitable time, and invites his uncle to dinner, but is repeatedly refused. Two portly gentlemen then arrive, collecting for the poor and destitute, and the miser dismisses them coldly, asking whether the prisons and workhouses are not enough, and declaring that those who would rather die had better do so and decrease the surplus population. He drives away a boy singing a carol at his keyhole. At last the counting house closes, the clerk slides home to play with his family, and the old man takes his gloomy dinner alone and goes back to his cold chambers, where the strange events of the night are about to begin. The chill of his nature is matched by the chill of the weather, and the scene is set for a haunting. As the old man reaches his door, the knocker suddenly seems to become the dead partner's face, glowing with a dismal light before turning back into an ordinary knocker. Unsettled but stubborn, he goes inside, double locks himself in, and sits down to his thin gruel. A disused bell begins to swing of its own accord, then every bell in the house rings out, followed by a clanking of chains dragged up from the cellar. Through the heavy door, without pause, comes the ghost of his old partner, transparent, wrapped in a chain forged of cash boxes, keys, padlocks, ledgers, and heavy purses. The spirit explains that this chain was made link by link in life by his own greed, and warns that the living man is forging a far longer and heavier one for himself. The ghost laments that mankind should have been his business, that charity, mercy, and benevolence were the true business he ignored, while he walked through crowds with his eyes turned down. He reveals that he wanders the earth in restless torment, witnessing what he can no longer share. He has come to offer one chance of escaping his fate. The old man will be haunted by three spirits, the first when the bell tolls one, the others on the following nights. The ghost then drifts to the window, and the cold man sees the air filled with moaning phantoms, all bound in chains, all longing to help suffering humanity but powerless to do so. Shaken to the marrow, he tries to say humbug, fails, and falls instantly asleep, the dreadful warning ringing in his memory. Waking in confusion, the old man finds the clock striking far past the time he went to bed, and puzzles over whether he has slept a whole day away. When the bell tolls one, light flashes and the curtains of his bed are drawn aside by a strange figure, the first of the foretold spirits, the ghost of Christmas past. It looks both like a child and an old man, with white hair yet an unwrinkled face, and a bright jet of light springing from its head. It declares itself to be his own past, and bids him rise and walk. They pass through the wall and stand on an open country road where he was bred as a boy, and a flood of long-forgotten memories rushes back. They visit his old school, where a lonely, neglected child sits reading near a feeble fire, while the other boys have gone home for the holidays. The old man weeps to see his forgotten self, and delights to recall the storybook companions who once kept him company in his solitude. They see another Christmas, lonelier still, until his little sister comes darting in to bring him home, full of glee, telling him their father is kinder now, and that he is to be a man. The spirit gently notes that this delicate, large-hearted sister later died, leaving one child, the nephew the old man now scorns. Already the cold man's heart begins to stir, and he wishes he had given something to the carol-singing boy at his door the night before. The journey through memory has begun to soften him. The ghost of Christmas past carries the old man next to the warehouse where he was once apprenticed, and there appears his former master, a jovial, kind-hearted old merchant who orders the work cleared away for a grand Christmas Eve ball. Fiddlers play, the whole household and their friends pour in, and the merchant and his wife dance gloriously, while everyone makes merry with food, cake, negus, and good cheer. Watching, the old man realizes how much joy that generous master gave for only a few pounds, and how the power to make others happy or wretched lies in small words and looks. He thinks suddenly of his own clerk and wishes he could say a word to him. The scene then darkens. He sees himself older, a man in the prime of life, his face already marked by greed, sitting beside a fair young woman in a mourning dress. She gently releases him from their engagement, telling him that another idol, a golden one, has displaced her, and that the master passion of gain has engrossed him. She doubts he would even choose a dowerless girl now, and with a full heart she sets him free, wishing him happiness in the life he has chosen. The relentless spirit then shows one shadow more, the same woman, now a comely matron, surrounded by happy children, while her husband mentions seeing the lonely old miser, sitting quite alone in the world as his partner lies dying. Overcome with grief and unable to bear the sight of the family life he might have had, the old man begs to be removed, wrestles with the spirit, presses the extinguisher cap down upon its light, and sinks exhausted into his bed. Awaking again, the old man this time prepares himself for the second spirit, but when the bell strikes one, no shape appears. A blaze of ruddy light leads him to the next room, transformed into a perfect grove of holly, mistletoe, and ivy, heaped with turkeys, geese, meats, puddings, fruits, and bowls of punch. Upon this throne of plenty sits a jolly giant, the ghost of Christmas present, who bids him come in and know him better. Clad in a green robe and a holly wreath, the spirit carries a glowing torch and tells the old man he has had more than 1,800 brothers. Touching the spirit's robe, the old man is swept into the snowy Christmas streets, alive with cheerful shoppers, glowing shops, and good-humoured people, where the spirit sprinkles incense from his torch upon their dinners and restores good temper to those who quarrel. They travel to the clerk's small four-roomed house, where his family prepares their modest Christmas feast. The wife, the daughters, and the children bustle about, and the father returns from church carrying his frail youngest son upon his shoulder, the small crutch and iron frame marking the boy's lameness. The little family delights over a small goose and a triumphant pudding, and they raise a circle round the hearth, the youngest child piping his gentle blessing upon them all. The poverty is plain, yet the love and gratitude are overflowing, and the old man watches with an interest he has never felt before, his hard heart drawn especially to the fragile child by the fire. As the clerk holds his frail son's withered little hand, the old man, moved as never before, asks the spirit whether the child will live. The spirit answers that it sees a vacant seat and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved, and that if these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die. When the old man begs that the boy be spared, the spirit turns his own cruel words back upon him, asking whether the child had better die and decrease the surplus population. Stung with penitence, the old man hangs his head. He then hears the clerk toast him as the founder of the feast, and watches the wife reluctantly drink his health for her husband's sake, his name casting a shadow over the family. The spirit carries the old man onward, showing how Christmas is kept everywhere, by miners on a bleak moor, by lighthouse keepers on a storm-battered reef, by sailors at sea, and most warmly at the nephew's house, where laughter, music, and games abound. The nephew speaks with pity rather than anger of his stubborn uncle, vowing to keep inviting him every year. The old man, drawn in, longs to join the games. As the night ends, the spirit grows visibly older, his hair turning grey, and reveals two wretched children hidden in his robe, a boy named Ignorance and a girl named Want, warning the old man to beware them both, and most of all the boy. When the old man asks whether they have no refuge, the spirit again echoes his own words about prisons and workhouses. The bell strikes 12, and a solemn hooded phantom approaches. The last of the spirits comes silently, a tall, shrouded phantom draped in black, showing nothing but one outstretched hand. It is the ghost of Christmas yet to come, and the old man fears it more than any spectre he has seen. Yet, hoping to become another man, he prepares to follow with a thankful heart. The phantom leads him among the merchants on 'Change, where businessmen speak carelessly of someone's death. They do not know much about it, joke about a cheap funeral that nobody will attend, and one will only go if a lunch is provided. Two wealthy men of business exchange a few cold words about the dead man, remarking that old Scratch has got his own at last. The old man, unable to find his own image in his usual place, supposes these trivial conversations hold some hidden lesson for his improvement. The phantom then leads him into a foul, crime-ridden quarter of the town to a dingy shop where stolen and second-hand goods are bought. There a charwoman, a laundress, and an undertaker's man meet, each having plundered the belongings of a dead man, and they laugh as they sell off his bed curtains, his blankets, even the shirt taken from his corpse. They jeer that the wicked old screw frightened everyone away in life so as to profit them in death. The old man listens in horror and disgust, slowly sensing that the unhappy, unmourned man whose possessions are being picked over might be his own self, and that his life is tending that very way unless it changes. The phantom shows the old man a bare, uncurtained bed where a plundered, unwatched, unwept body lies beneath a ragged sheet. The room is dark, and a finger points steadily to the covered head. The old man longs to see the face, but has no power to lift the veil, and reflects on how this dead man lies, with not a single soul to remember one kind word he ever spoke. He begs the spirit to show him any tenderness connected with a death. The phantom reveals a poor couple who actually feel relief at the man's death, since he was their merciless creditor, and who now dare to hope for an easier future. Seeking some gentler emotion, the old man is taken back to the clerk's house, where all is quiet and grief-stricken. The frail youngest child has died. The mother and daughters sew in silence. The eldest son reads scripture, and the father comes home having visited the green little churchyard, breaking down at the memory of his little child before composing himself. The family vow never to forget the patient, gentle boy, or to quarrel among themselves in his memory, and they take comfort in the unexpected kindness shown to them by the old man's nephew. Pressing the spirit to name the dead man, the old man is led to a neglected, weed-choked churchyard, where the silent finger points to a single grave. Creeping forward in dread, he reads upon the stone his own name. Falling to his knees, he pleads that he is not the man he was, that he will honour Christmas in his heart, and keep its lessons through past, present and future, begging that the writing may yet be sponged away. As he clutches the spectral hand, the phantom shrinks and dwindles down into a bedpost. The old man wakes to find the bedpost his own, the bed his own, and best of all, the time before him his own to make amends in. Overjoyed that the bed curtains are not torn down and that he is still alive, he laughs and cries in the same breath, declaring himself as light as a feather, as happy as an angel, as merry as a schoolboy. He hardly knows what day it is, and is delighted to learn from a boy in the street that it is Christmas Day, that the spirits have done it all in one night. He sends the boy to buy the great prize turkey, twice the size of the frail child, to be delivered anonymously to his clerk's house. He dresses in his best, goes out into the streets patting children and greeting beggars, and meets one of the portly gentlemen who had asked for charity, whispering a generous donation with many back payments included. He goes nervously to his nephew's house, is welcomed warmly to a wonderful Christmas dinner full of games and happiness. The next morning he waits to catch his clerk arriving late, feigns his old severity, then announces with earnestness that he is about to raise the clerk's salary, help his struggling family, and discuss his affairs over a Christmas bowl. He becomes a second father to the child who did not die, and proves himself as good a friend, master and man as the good old city ever knew. Some laugh at the change in him, but he lets them laugh, his own heart laughing, content that he knows how to keep Christmas well. The story closes with the gentle blessing that God bless us, everyone. When I sit back and consider what this story is really reaching for, I think the author may be drawing attention to how easily a human being can wall himself off from his fellow creatures in the pursuit of money. I believe the book is holding up a mirror to coldness and showing us its true cost, not in coins, but in loneliness, regret, and an unmourned grave. The story repeatedly highlights the idea that mankind itself should be our business, and that charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence matter more than the dealings of trade. I feel the author may be warning that a chain is forged link by link in life, and that greed and indifference bind us long before we realize it. The scenes of the struggling clerk's family and the two wretched children named Ignorance and Want suggest to me that the author is pointing a finger at how society neglects the poor while comfortable people speak of prisons and workhouses. I think there is a deliberate sharpness in turning the miser's own cruel words about the surplus population back against him, as if to say that none of us has the right to decide who deserves to live. Yet I also believe the story is hopeful rather than bitter. It insists that no man is past changing, that the shadows of what may be can still be altered by an altered life. The message I take from it is that generosity, kindness, and the warmth of family and community are the truest riches, and that it is never too late to open a shut-up heart. The author seems to be urging us gently but firmly to keep Christmas, and indeed its spirit of goodwill, all the year round. Thank you for staying till the end of A Christmas Carol. You obviously are a glutton for punishment. Please hit the like icon if you thought this video deserves it, so other people get to see it. Let me know in the comments which book you would like me to read to you next. Now YouTube have put on screen a channel subscribe icon and below it my latest video for you to check out. See you next time.